Good morning, everyone. All right, Shell's passing out goodies. Thank you all for being here. We are going to get started in a moment. Shirley, it's wonderful to see you. So, I haven't seen you in a while, so welcome. Thank you all for being here. And we want to thank Scott Williams for being here. Scott is Leslie's brother and representing the family here. So thank you for taking the time, Scott.
Thank you.
Would you like to sit over here?
No, okay. Thank you, though. I appreciate it.
So still a few more seats if anyone wants to sit. We are here today to remember our co-worker, our advisor, our friend, Leslie Ann Fettinger. And it's been 4 months since our dear friend passed, but we are happy to have this gathering and so that we can remember, reminisce, smile, cry, all of those things, because Leslie was such a part of all of our lives, and she mattered to us so tremendously. I would dare to say that most of you know I've been here 39 years, which means Les was here 37, and I don't think there's an equal in our organization to who Leslie was. She was a friend to everyone, and people that just had the slightest problem felt so comfortable stopping down to her office and having a conversation, and they always walked away feeling better. And that is who Leslie was, and we will forever remember that. As in a couple of minutes, there's going to be an opportunity for people to speak. Shelley and I both have had conversations with many people in the room who shared their emotions, but perhaps aren't ready to speak today, and we understand that. But we will be passing the mic around, and any memories that you have that you want to share of Leslie, we certainly will. You'll have that time and that opportunity, and we look forward to hearing about that. So, since I've got the microphone, I guess I'll start with some of my Leslie memories, and then we'll pass it around. So it was a winter day in 1987 when our original, then called executive director, now CEO, Ralph Barron, hired Leslie Ann Williams. And I remember the day well because as much as I loved Ralph, he didn't always hire the right people. There were occasions. Now, it could be argued that he hired me, so I don't know. But he hired a 22-year-old Leslie, and the rest became history. We were thrilled. I think it's raining today or threatening to rain today so that we could be in this space, because that's where Leslie started her career. She was the director of activities for 12 years and spent a lot of time breathing life into this space. And it seems appropriate that her spirit is here with us today. We memorialize her here today. I was probably working with Les for several years before we realized that we had some commonality. We both spent a little bit of our youth visiting extended family down in the south end of Waterville, which at the time was called Port Schuyler. And Les and I shared, well, I'm 9.5 years older than she, but it was in different decades. But the highlight of going to Waterville was the fact the original Ted's Fish Fry was there. And Les, and I'm assuming Scott, got to go to Ted's Fish Fry. In your case, it was with your grandparents. In my case, it was with my aunt. And that was the high point. You know, if my aunt called on a Friday night and said, "Hey, can I take Brian for the weekend?" I knew I was going to go to Ted's, clog my arteries, and get a coffee share. It was just, and lo and behold, Les was doing the very same thing. And even in her failing health in the fall, she asked her groom, which, as we all know, is how she referred to Eric, "Hey, you know, I want to get something different for Brian for Christmas. So would you go down to Waterville and go to the Schuyler Bakery and get him a gift card?" Now, Waterville is not exactly convenient for Eric Fettinger to go to, but being the incredible soul that he is, he did. And you know, and I got Schuyler Bakery is the bakery that's a block away from Ted's Fish Fry that we both had the privilege of knowing in our youth and getting the occasional birthday cake from. Les was a person that cared about others, and it didn't matter who you were. We don't have another employee who knows the name of every single employee who works here. I'd like to say I do, I don't. And not only did she know everyone's name, but she knew something about that person, about their family, and she cared. There's only one Leslie, and so we have all missed her. Shell and I took a moment yesterday afternoon to check on what each other was going to say, and we couldn't get through that conversation. Because, you know, I think X years from now, we're still going to have the emotions of not having our friend here. We miss her, we love her, and with that, I want to know who wants to talk next. Don't be shy. Cindy, come on up.
Thank you, Brian. First of all, my name is Cindy Lavish, and I've been affiliated with Wesley since 1992. I'm currently doing per diem here, seeing patients with complexities. But I echo everything Brian said, and I want to say I'm so sorry for your loss as an organization and everyone here that worked closely with Leslie. So I was hired in 1992, and I was interviewed by Mary Kerwin, and then Neil Roberts hired me. And when we were walking around, he said, "I want to be sure to introduce you to the director of activities. Her name is Leslie Fettinger." He said, "She's my youngest department head." And then he said, "But she's the best." And I was kind of like, I wonder how old she is. I mean, she's so young. And he said, "You can learn from her." So I was hired as assistant director. And, you know, I thought, you know, I've been doing this for a few years, so let's see what she has to offer, right? But I remember walking by this activities room one day and hearing all this laughing. It was around 9 in the morning, cheering. And I looked in, and she was having a morning meeting with her staff. And apparently they had a little, I don't know, it was a little powwow or something where they all did, you know, high fives and go get them kind of thing. And I realized, oh, I get it. She is all about team building and, you know, being supportive of her staff in that way. And I thought I could learn from her, and I watched her over the years. And then I was director of nursing, and I'd been a director for nursing for about a year, and I heard she applied to be the head of Human Services, Director of Human Services. And I knew she'd be qualified, but I was a little bit nervous because after all, she was Neil's favorite department head. I knew that. And I thought, how's this gonna be? I'm in charge of nursing, but I had nothing to fear. We really bonded, and over the years, she was such a support working with me, because any of us who've worked in administration know that sometimes it's a thankless job, and you have to make difficult decisions, and sometimes have difficult conversations with employees that I would dread. And I love to have her with me, because like you were saying, Brian, she just was so caring, and she'd look at these employees sitting across from us, some of which we were going to be terminating their employment at the facility. And she'd look at them with those big blue eyes of hers, draw them in, let them know that she valued them as an individual, as a person. And oftentimes, really anxious, angry employees would leave that office almost thanking us. Thank you for the opportunity to work here. For sure, goodbye. You're not going to work here anymore. But she made them feel valued, and that you can be a success in this life. And, she would wish them well. And I was just so happy to have her by my side at those moments. But we also worked together with all the challenges in recruitment, retention. She always was brainstorming with nursing. And she came up with a lot of programs that were successful for the years. The New Visions program, and Rose, you were part of a lot of these work-study programs. And I remember she was so big on reaching out to the community, going to high schools to get students to come here, even in the evening to help feed patients. She was open to everything, every challenge. And when the hospital in Cambridge, where I live, closed, when was that? Early, 2005. Patty knows. When? 2003. She says, okay, Cindy, you live in Cambridge. I'm going to meet you there. We're going to have donuts and coffee, and we're going to go recruit that staff. And there we were. We went, and guess what? She's still here. And guess what? Patty is now in charge of the education department. So, and Diane McMorris is still here. She's on Fort Victoria, and Sandy McClenathan, and a few others. And so she was very successful, very innovative, and far-reaching, and I just admired her so much. After I retired, I still continued to stop in to see her, not to talk about work at all. We would not talk about work, but we would talk about, guess what, Maine. She's the one that got my husband and I going to Maine. She told me all the best places to eat, Warren's for the lobster roll, where to stay, Marginal Way to walk. I mean, she was so in love with Maine. I know she and her husband bought a house there, and I'm so sorry she could not live to enjoy that. And you live there, right? Part-time. Yeah, she talked about you. I was hoping her daughter be here, because I was going to say, I know how old you are, because you were born in 1992. But the other thing that we talked about after I retired were our pets. Everybody knew Scotty, who rescued dogs and cats, all those golden retrievers. I can't remember their names. Some of your staff might know the cats and dogs. But over the years, I'd come in and show her, and she got me into it. So now she would be very proud of me. I'm involved with a cat rescue program, and I have 4 rescued cats ready for adoption if anyone's interested. But that was all from her influence with me. And lastly, I think it's very fitting that we have Christmas celebration here. What a great idea, because she was all about celebrating all the holidays, really, but Christmas. And I would come down to her office with my little token Christmas pin. That would be about it. Barb Falkenberg would be dressed as the Christmas elf, of course, remember? And she was really into it. So a couple years before I retired, I remember going in her office, and she said, is that the best you could do, for Christmas spirit? And she took off this pin and gave it to me. So she regifted this pin. It's like little cats dressed as elves. So when I was finding it this morning, I happened to read the inscription, which I think is fitting. It says, friends are the greatest gift. And the greatest gift to Wesley is Leslie. Thank you.
Don't be shy.
I remember the money tree she gave you.
Oh, yes.
You should talk about that.
So, for those of you that haven't been around quite that long, The fall, we'd be talking about budgets, and next year's budget. And so Leslie came in with a artificial tree with dollar bills taped to all of the branches of the tree to indicate to me that, don't worry, there's a money tree. We can afford anything. And, so, yeah, we tried, watering it, fertilizing it. It didn't work as well as we were hoping. Sure.
Hello, everyone. So first of all, thank you all so much for being here today to lift one another up and hold one another up as we go on this journey together today. I really want to send special thanks to Heidi, who worked tirelessly to pull all the decorations and the programs. Everything came together. Thank you, Patty, for baking. Everyone really just came together. The Health and Wellness Committee. There's too many to thank. Zach, Life Enrichment, thank you all. It was hard, to come up with my favorite memories of Leslie, which is tied to Wesley, because there's so many. So I thought what I would do is create a list of the top 10 things that Leslie taught all of us. And maybe this might help others who are finding a way to phrase memories. Maybe you look at what she taught us. So the first thing I came up with is there's always a reason to smile. You can say hello and a thank you to anyone and everyone you pass by. If she passed by you, you can be sure she was going to look you in the eye, say hello, greet you, and give you a warm welcome. She could make a spirit day out of thin air. She taught us how to do that, right? She could make an event or a spirit day with 2 minutes, and she would always say, my underwear is showing today, show. But there's an occasion to celebrate with flannel, tie-dye, balloons, and a favorite color. Along the same line, jump in with both feet. She taught us that if you're going to do something, make it super fun, go all the way. Her various committees came up with the most cockamamie ideas, and she rolled with it every time. She managed to put a theme around these ideas, tie them together, and make it into something fun. As Cindy said, animals are always welcome. Pets make everything better, especially if you're a golden retriever, which might be how she learned to like me. I'm not sure she did it first, but I probably have a little golden retriever in me, which maybe is how we got there. Balloons, candy, and chocolate can solve 90% of the world's problems. Any of those things in any combination, they were always around her. And in her office, if you went into her office, it was just exploding with fun things, with gift bags, all of the things happening with events, t-shirts, clothes. Her office is a treasure trove, and she always had something for you when you walked in there. If you needed something, she had it. She would make it appear. Someone always appreciated that we were here, right? Thank you for being here today. Insert your name. When COVID happened and we all ran away from each other, she ran toward us. She was the first to volunteer as a screener. When everyone was afraid of getting sick, she put that aside and she welcomed and thanked everyone every single day for coming to work. She'd never missed a day. We are never too busy to make time for each other. We always should be 100% present when we're listening. There's no task, to-do list, or in my case, email inbox issue that should take precedence over another person. We should sit with them. She made all of us feel held. And when I say held, I mean it's almost like she was holding your attention, your spirit, your soul. She looked at you and she dropped everything around her to make you feel like you were the only thing going on in her world. She saw the very best in all of us, even when we couldn't see it in ourselves. If you're like, just beating myself up over something. She would be like, really? You're kidding. And then she would turn that day right around. Number 8, we're family here. Residents, families, staff, and their families. You can walk in this front door, and in her mind, you are part of this family. There were no exceptions. Number 9, the Christmas spirit can be felt year-round. in our hearts, in our attire, but most notably in the ability to give of ourselves. Santa's name should never be used in vain as well. Number 10, tissue paper presented with flair makes every gift glorious. There is a proper way to use tissue paper in a gift bag. You always carry the gift bag after that tissue is placed from the bottom up. I was indeed the elf apprentice she never wanted, but she got. She made it her solemn duty to make sure that I could put on a luncheon, do some gift wrapping, and a gift card. That did not go well. I passed the class, but by the skin of my chinny chin chin. So I want you to know, if you get a gift card from me with your name upside down, it's smudged, or the whole gift looks like it's been through Vietnam, you just look up at her and you say, "You tried. You tried. I know you tried." Because she did. Lastly, and this one isn't numbered, Leslie taught us what love looks like. She truly loved every single one of us, and she was so proud of us, but never anyone more dear to her than her family. She loved you and spoke of you all the time. Your trips, what you meant to her. She was so proud of all of you. The rest of us, we were second, which is a really honorable place to be to her family. In the end, I could have asked for no better teacher, mentor, coworker, confidant, or friend. She'll be in our hearts, and while she would have understood our sadness and stood with us, she would have wanted us to rise up, smile, and find the joy of Christmas in our hearts each and every day. She would have wanted us to carry her mission forward. And so I ask you to join me in doing that as we go about our days, finding that joy and that Christmas Wesley spirit with us and elevating that every day. So Merry Christmas, Leslie. We love you.
Right. Others that want to talk, I can take this mic and pass it around. You don't have to come up here. That's too intimidating.
I do.
All right. Hang on, Paula.
I probably should have come up there.
No, that's okay.
Oh, that's
Go
right,
for
I'm
it.
older than you.
Yeah.
I've never done
There's not many people in the room older than me, Paula.
Since when have you ever used your age as an excuse?
Hey,
Can you hear me okay? I don't think it's on. Okay. Hope I can do this, I'm gonna try. Back in September 27th of 1916, I lost my daughter to drugs. And I got some flowers from Leslie. Card said, "Thinking of you, Wes." And every year after that, right up until 2023, every year on September 27th, I got flowers from Leslie saying, I forgot what they said. Anyway, that's the way she was. We all know that's the way she was. Every year she just, and it's of course gonna stay the rest of my life. So anyway, thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Who's next?
Shelley said what I was gonna say.
Okay, so I hope I can get through this, because Les was my best friend. I can say that I was working with Cindy Lavish as the educator for nursing. Dutch Hayward and Leslie came to me one day and said, "Rose, we need somebody to teach the CNA class." I said, "Well, that's not me." And she said, "Well, come on," and you said, "Try it, and if you don't like it, then you will come back to Cindy." I stayed there with Leslie under my sleeve. We went to San Antonio, Texas, to get what everybody loves is Health Street. Leslie and I traveled together. We made an entrance everywhere we went. We got on one airplane, got off in Chicago, and we had to get to the next airplane. We were the last people to get on the airplane. And she gets on and says, "Hello, everybody." We were in San Antonio, Texas, and we were at the Alamo. And Leslie had talked us into buying these godly dresses for core values. And she said to me, "Rose, look, there's a lady with our dress on." With those dresses, my biggest memory, I guess, is when we got Brian and Dutch to try the dresses on. Leslie always put me out of my comfort zone, but she was my best friend. Yep.
Anyone else? Okay. All right. The couple other things about Les, and I sort of piggybacking on something that Shell said. You know, the front entrance to the nursing home just became sort of a dead zone on the middle of March of 2000, or 2020 rather, with COVID. And as Shell said, Les volunteered to be the screener. But what she also volunteered to do was to take that dead zone that had been a lively gift shop and make it something completely different. And we'll get into that in a little bit later. But that's one of my memories, was just her wanting for there to be life as soon as you walked in, even in the middle of the pandemic where everyone was scared. And a lot of family members were angry. But Les found a way to make it better for everybody. Other thoughts, comments? All right. Well, Margaret, where is Margaret? I saw you were there. You are.
Just find the hat.
Just find a hat.
There you
Yes.
find Margaret.
Thank you. On behalf of the Wesley community, we would like to present this booklet with all of our memories in it of Leslie.
Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you so much.
Well, it was, over the past 4 months, there have been literally dozens of ideas on how do we memorialize Leslie in a meaningful way. And lots of ideas have come forward. We kept coming back to the space to the left as you come in the building. And so we have a plaque that is going to hang right by what was the gift shop, now the area where we celebrate and staff. And this says, "In loving memory of Leslie Ann Fettinger, forever in our hearts." And when we're having an event down there, I now refer to it as Leslie's place, because I think it still would have had the gate down and not been transformed into something meaningful without Leslie. And so we'll be putting that up in her memory right there in front of the space, and she will always be in our hearts. All right, Carolyn, would you like to lead us in reading the poem?
Thank you, Brian. Can you all hear me okay? Probably don't need the microphone with my big mouth. To Les. When I think back on all the years, I just cannot hold back the tears. My mind can't process. I just feel numb. I never thought this day would come. You were supposed to be with me on the day I retire. At least all along, that has been my desire. I knew there was something. You just weren't right. But no matter what, you weren't going to give up the fight. There were so many words that I wanted to say, but you were so private. That was your way. So each day I'd smile and chat and pretend and silently pray that your troubles would end. You were a Fruit Loop full of sweetness and color. Words of encouragement you gave like no other. It is true to say you are one of a kind. Another like you would be so hard to find. Wesley's foundation has a crack in it now. But as you would want, we'll go on somehow. Because through good times and bad, Wesley is family. From the very start, that's how it was meant to be. I think that for always at the end of my day, I'll walk past your door and continue to say, good night, Les, and hear your voice so dear say, good night, friend. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Les, for being here.
Thank you, Carolyn. So that concludes the formal part of the program, unless anyone wants to speak who hasn't volunteered. Yep. And we do have, as Shel just pointed out, we have memorial cards, which you're welcome to take one of. We have some cookies, which, Patty, did you bake them all?
She did.
Okay.
Patty, you are something.
They are Leslie's favorite.
Oh,
Of course.
I'm sorry.
It's a plantable seed packet memorial paper, and you just put it in the ground and hide
How
it from
cool.
those.
In memory of Les.
And the flowers are forget-me-nots.
And the flowers that grow are forget-me-nots. So, thank you all for coming. It is, we appreciate your love, your support, and we will continue to miss Leslie every day. But thank you for being here. Don't leave without a cookie or an opportunity to plant a forget-me-not.
And can I say, for those of you who don't know, one of the reasons why they're called forget-me-nots is because they won't necessarily, I believe, come up the first year. They come up and flower the second year. So don't be disappointed if after you plant them, you don't see anything happening.
So it's not my black thumb you're saying?
Well, in Patty's case,
Thanks.
Yep. So we all know not to give Patty anything living to
Yeah.
try and care for her.
Except for Woodlawn.
But if she wants to bake for you,
Oh, yeah.
you need to take that opportunity.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you to everyone from our family too. We really appreciate it. loved everybody here, so really appreciate all your efforts in doing this too. So, very kind.
Thank you, Scott, so much for being here. So, all right, time for cookies, reminiscing, water, whatever you would like. Thank you very much.